Today we'll be talking about one of the aspects of the GTA 5 storyline that I felt was never really explored enough, and that's what's Michael's inner conflict in the storyline, because it is a thing. And what is this conflict about exactly? Let's discuss that first. Well, it's about Michael's two lives, and like he says, he doesn't like either one of them. What I'm talking about here is the contrast between Michael's life as a family man and his life as a bank robber. He himself explains it best when he says to Dr. Freelander, I want to be a good dad, I love my family, live the dream, but at the same time, I really want the other stuff too. I love this line because it shows how Michael wanted all those things years ago in order to leave that criminal life behind for a more stable and safe life where he doesn't have to run from cops on a daily basis. And now that same thing he wanted, he desperately wants to leave and kind of break out of it because he's addicted to the adrenaline and the chaos from his old life. And then on the other hand, you see him talking to Trevor saying how the old days were shit, even though things aren't really that much different nowadays, at least when we're talking about the bank robbing aspects. Maybe they're not always living out of motels, but you know, it's still pretty bad. But you have these moments of Michael briefly mentioning how he wants to be a family man, but at the same time he likes the bank robbing, and by the time we get to the jewel store job, he's just bored of it all. He wants to do something, and that's what turns him back to bank robbing, not just the debt to Martin Madrazo, although while yes, that was sort of the last straw. And like I said, there are these, little occasions where he likes to kind of mention that sort of inner conflict in his head and whatnot, although he doesn't refer to it as that, let's be honest. But I do wish that maybe occasionally he mentions it a few more times. I would love to see like a scene where it's kind of similar to Bury the Hatchet, that flashback where he's driving through North Yankton, but instead the sort of thoughts in his mind are kind of about the stuff like this, where maybe right before the jewel store job, or maybe even before the chaotic Polito score, he kind of thinks like, oh, is this the life that I want? Oh yes I do, or no I don't. I mean, it would be kind of interesting to kind of hear some of those thoughts, like a full-on scene where it's dedicated to what he's thinking about and we can actually hear it. Would have been really interesting. Real quick though, if you're enjoying this video so far on this topic, leave a like on it and subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're trying to get to 3K subs before GTA 6, so let's go ahead and try to make that happen. Another thing that I feel like is worth mentioning is how Michael himself at one point says that his whole life has just been chasing something, getting it, and then eventually hating it. He started off robbing banks back in the late 80s, and knowing Michael's ego, he likely wanted that status of the most wanted bank robber of the US, and the shit ton of money that comes with it. But once he got that, he got tired of it and realized that that's no life for a family man if he wants to keep his family safe, and he desperately then went into the deal with Dave in order to get out of that lifestyle for a more stable one. And then years later down the line, Michael eventually grew to resent that family life too, all of which perfectly aligns with what we just talked about. And that's exactly the point of today's video, the fact that Michael's kind of indecisive, like he can't seem to choose for most of the game. Does he want that old life where it's exciting but he's risking dying, or does he want the normal-ish family life where it's boring but he's not in danger? Thankfully, he kind of found some balance for it all when he met Solomon Richards, and they started working together and whatnot, which led to likely years down the line later, Michael becoming a successful movie producer. And I feel like ever since he got into the movie business, we don't hear him mentioning something like him not being able to choose. Sure, he still wants to, and he still does, the big one in particular, but that's something that's been a goal of his for years, and something that he has been set on long before everything else happened. So much so that after Devin Weston sent a hit squad to his house, he said that they should hurry up with it and get it done before shit gets even worse. All in all, the point of this video is to discuss how I wish that we got at least another scene or two kind of dedicated to what's going on in Michael's head when it comes to sort of inner conflict, or that part that we talked about in the beginning of him not being able to decide what to do, and particularly when it comes to very early game when he's just getting back into his old life and it's like, well, do I want to be a family man or a bank robber? And the main problem is that he wants both, and the two don't really go hand in hand. And all I want was for us to maybe hear some of those thoughts right before a robbery, which would have another nice layer to Michael's character, and we would have gotten sort of a more of an insight into what is going on in his head and what's something that he thinks about on a daily basis. And with that said, I want to thank you for watching this video. Leave your thoughts and opinions on this topic in the comments down below. Until next video stream, bye bye.